with this plan that everyone was waiting for, saying that there's no new taxes, deep cuts in spending. And if people agree with your plan, the problem seems to be, how do you get the job done with the numbers that you have?
Well, you know, I looked at 2 years ago, Shelley. 2 years ago, the Democrats came out with a $1.6 billion tax increase. And we said there's a better way. And we proposed a no tax increase budget. And everyone said you'll never do it. We had 44 members in the House at the time. There were 12 in the Senate. Well, P.S., that's exactly what we passed. And the reason was certainly not because of our numbers. Obviously, they had a supermajority. It's because our message resonated with the public. The public contacted their Democratic senators and legislators and said, you know what, these guys got a point. Do this without taxes. And that's what carried the day. And we think that'll happen again.
But you called for an 18-month wage freeze for state employees, 6 furlough days. You also fold 23 state agencies into 6. And you also eliminate $6 million in funding for publicly financed campaigns. So, Mr. Larry Cafero, let's talk a little bit about the state agencies. That, to me, seems very interesting. A lot of people are calling for smaller government. It seems as if you've accomplished that in your budget. What agencies do you fold into each other?
Well,
and does it hurt services to the people?
We've tried to put forth this budget on 3 C's, we call it. Cuts, spending cuts, consolidations, as we're about to talk about, and union concessions. With regard to the consolidations, people want smaller government, but they want more efficient government. The trick is you just don't cut or combine services that, you know, willy-nilly just to say we did it. There has to be some logic to it. For instance, what we said is the Department of Motor Vehicles and the Department of Transportation seem like an ideal fit, that maybe they could combine and make some efficiencies there.
Other examples?
Other examples, the Department of Mental Services, the Department of Social Services, 3 agencies combining into a Department of Human Services. Again, more consolidation.
How many jobs are we talking about, though? If you consolidate these jobs, there's going to have to be layoffs.
Well, not necessarily.
Elimination of jobs?
First of all, our plan, as does the governor's, and I believe as does the Democratic plan, take into consideration an early retirement plan, from which we probably will realize about 3,000 employees less than we have currently. Plus, we have a hard hiring freeze, and we have natural attrition that we think could be anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 less employees that will help us accomplish this consolidation.
We're running out of time in this segment, but to play devil's advocate here, I'm sure the unions would say, listen, you're asking state employees to make a lot of concessions. What's so wrong with having a progressive income tax? Many other states have them, where those who make more than $250,000, their income tax is increased at different levels depending on how much you make. Why is that such a bad idea?
Well, first of all, we're presupposing that people who are paying taxes aren't making any sacrifices. And that's the whole premise of our budget. Right now is the worst time to increase taxes. People are hurting out there, losing their jobs, losing their homes, unable to pay their kids' tuition, unable to fix the roof. They're hurting. We are the highest tax states in the United States of America. The federal government plans on increasing taxes on some of our citizenry. Are we going to add to that? Are we going to, as the saying goes, pour more fuel on the fire? No.
How are talks going? How are talks going?
Budget talks, very, very slow and frustrating. I mean, today we were in session. This is the 2nd day in a row this week. We went on and on and on about bills, none of which had to do with the budget. People want the budget solved, and they want it solved.
All right, we're going to take a quick break.